Man, Jason Whitlock is already trying to stir up some controversy between Ju Ju Watkins and Caitlin Clark. What he's doing, he's causing confusion. He's talking about Ju Ju Watkins don't have the same appeal Caitlin Clark has. But before we get off into today's video, tell a friend and tell a friend. Man, Jason Whitlock, he knows how to stir up a lot of controversy, man. And what he's doing now is he's trying to put Ju Ju Watkins against Caitlin Clark, or vice versa, Caitlin Clark against Ju Ju Watkins. Now, we all know how Jason Whitlock does. You know, he has his Fearless Show podcast on the volume and on Blaze, I mean. And what Jason Whitlock does, he stirs up a lot of controversy. Y'all know I've been covering Jason Whitlock for a minute, you know, on his egregious takes on certain athletes and, you know, certain, you know, sports figures and icons such as Deion Sanders, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp. You know, that's why they always going back and forth, because Jason Whitlock seems to have these egregious takes on a lot of things that he talks about. Now he's trying to stir up controversy between Ju Ju Watkins and Caitlin Clark. And I was listening to the Blaze podcast because the video clip was sent to me and they asked me what my take was. And I said, let me do a show. And, you know, he said some great things about Ju Ju Watkins, but in the same sense, he was bigging her up to break her down and uplifting Caitlin Clark, talking about Caitlin Clark's journey to the NCAA and the way Caitlin Clark was basically a loner. She didn't want to go to UConn or anything like that with Gino Orientum, and her path was different, and that's why she has this star-studded appeal the way Jason Whitlock makes it seem. So I'm gonna play the clip of what Jason Whitlock was talking about on his Fearless podcast. So y'all take a listen to what Jason Whitlock is gonna say about not just Ju Ju Watkins, but he threw A'ja Wilson's name in there, he threw Angel Reese's name in there, and he's basically saying that nobody has the appeal that Caitlin Clark has. So let's take a listen.
Caitlin Clark's magnificent, incredible impact on the sport of women's college basketball has been reduced to, well, she's white, and all of her fans are white, and they're all racist. And that's why Caitlin Clark has taken women's college basketball by storm. It's because she's white. Don't you realize these black girls all pave the road that she's traveling, that these black women built the WNBA, that these black women carried women's basketball, and now all the racists love women's basketball because they're racist and they have Caitlin Clark. Just not true. Caitlin Clark's success and impact has been unpacked and told in such an unsophisticated, unintelligent manner that people don't fully understand how she did it, why these other girls.
Let's stop right there. You heard what Jason Whitlock said. The story of Caitlin Clark has really been told in unjust. So Jason Whitlock is trying to make it a point to where he's saying that, let me tell you the way it's supposed to be told. See, that's what Jason Whitlock does. Let me put the narrative out there the way it should be, and let's see if people, you know, grasp on to what I'm trying to say, because the story about Caitlin Clark has not been presented the way it should be presented.
Ju Ju Watkins is a marvelous basketball player for the University of Southern California. Last night, she had another 30-point game. She broke Caitlin Clark's record, most 30-point games through a sophomore season. She's a terrific basketball player. She may end up being as good, if not better, than Caitlin Clark. You know, she's a 6'1", 6'2". She's got a really good handle. She's a better athlete than Caitlin Clark.
I agree with him on that.
But let me walk you through the difference between Caitlin Clark and Ju Ju Watkins, Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. This is what the story that's not told about the uniqueness of her journey and how she became
So
this
Jason
mega
Whitlock
star.
got all the answers, y'all.
Caitlin Clark was, I think, the second or third biggest recruit in her recruiting class.
He got all the answers.
Every school in the country wanted Caitlin Clark, except for UConn.
Everybody
Gino
wanted Juju
Auriemma
as well.
Was not big on Caitlin Clark. I think my
Coming out of
speculation, he
Sierra
wasn't
Canyon.
big on Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark had no control of her emotions in high school and berated refs and had bad body language with her teammates. Again,
Now, y'all heard what Jason Whitlock said there. Now, that's one thing that's true, and we talk about it all the time. Caitlin Clark has been doing this her whole career, stemming back to high school. You know, the rages she has on the court that people just want to sweep under the rug and give her a pass for and say it's passionate because she's playing basketball. But she dirty talks a lot of people. She gets in it with refs. She gets in it with players. But people want to sweep that under the rug like she's the golden child.
This isn't me criticizing Caitlin Clark. This is me understanding Caitlin Clark and reading the Wright Thompson at ESPN did a magnificent.
See, you see what Jason Whitlock did there. You have to understand Caitlin Clark. So that's why you can give her a pass. If you understand her, you can sweep it under the rug. And see, that's not what we're going to do here. You're causing confusion.
They only here to cause confusion.
And see, what he did was he's trying to create his own narrative that it's okay for Caitlin Clark to do the things that she does. You just have to understand her.
Profile story on Caitlin Clark, explaining that she's always run hot, that this problem with her controlling her emotions has been there since junior high, since high school. She played high school basketball with a group of girls who, she's in Iowa. She's a freak in Iowa. She actually loves the game of basketball. She actually loves competing. Most of the girls on her team played it because it was fun. It kept them in shape, but it really wasn't a big deal. They were more concerned about prom dates and other things that girls are interested in. They didn't take basketball that seriously. And that drove Caitlin Clark a tiny bit crazy.
And Paige Beckers?
She's a basketball genius. She cares. She understands the sport. She's playing with a bunch of teammates that just don't share her passion. And she really didn't have any close friends until she got to Iowa. And that's part of the uniqueness of her journey is she's this big mammoth basketball recruit, was in love with UConn and Gino Auriemma. Gino Auriemma was not in love with her and did.
Now, this is egregious. Now, Jason Whitlock, you're coming up with your own storyline to basically say just because the way she traveled and the routes that she traveled, she has more appeal than Asia Wilson, Paige Beckers, Ju Ju Watkins, and Angel Reese. You said a lot there, but you didn't say nothing. So basically, you bigging Juju up saying that she could be potentially better than Caitlin Clark. And at the same sense, you're talking about, you know, she don't have the impact the way Caitlin Clark has the impact because Caitlin Clark was recruited by everybody in the nation except for UConn and Gino Auriemma. Well, if you notice, Juju coming out of Sierra Canyon, she was recruited by all the major colleges out there as well. And she chose Southern Cal, USC. And now you're trying to spin this narrative just because she didn't travel the same road that Caitlin Clark traveled, that she has more appeal to basketball than Juju. I don't get it, Jason. I really don't get it, man. Basically, in the same sense, you acknowledge that Juju is going to be a better ball player than Caitlin Clark because the numbers don't lie. You know, the numbers that Ju Ju Watkins is putting up now in her sophomore year, you know, is incredible. Now, Ju Ju Watkins is averaging 25.5 points a game, 6 rebounds a game, 3.6 assists, shooting 47% field goal percentage, right? Last night, you know, she dropped another 40 piece. The night before, she dropped 34. So, and they all, you know, translated into wins. Yeah, she only had 1 assist, but she was trying to get that victory. And they needed her to score, and that's what Juju's doing. She got out the gate slow, but she has picked it up. And we're seeing what Juju is capable of doing, and she has the appeal to set the WNBA on fire when she comes out in the draft class of 2026. So the narrative that Jason Whitlock is trying to spin is trying to say just because they didn't travel the road that Caitlin Clark traveled, that you don't have this big mass appeal in sports. Man, you guys let me know what y'all think about today's podcast, man. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Turn your post notifications on so every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. I need you guys to hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Droppin' podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.